All right. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of Finance and Corporate Services Committee. I'm going to begin by asking if there are any disclosures of pecuniary interest. Not seeing any, we're going to get right into it. There has been some last minute changes to the agenda on the first two discussion items here. So I'm actually going to go to the clerk to fill us in. Ms. Sanderson?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we did receive two development charges complaints to Section 20 of the Act. I just wanted to advise that 1438 Highland Road West received an appeal this afternoon at 1:37 p.m. due to failure to render a decision. So this item needs to be removed from the agenda as it's not within the committee's jurisdiction.
Okay, very good. So the first item, 5.1, is 5.1 we'll not be dealing with at all. And for the second item, I'm going to go to our law clerk to fill us in on developments there. Ms. Hughes, go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair, the applicant and the city have been in active negotiation discussions and have reached a tentative settlement in principle on the 15 Delroy complaint. And that settlement would lead to the complaint being withdrawn potentially. So to allow time for that settlement to be finalized, both parties on consent are requesting that this matter be adjourned or deferred to the April 20th, 2026 committee date.
Okay, so I would take a motion for that. Councillor Innes? Councillor Innes has moved the motion. Any discussion? Not seeing any. Those in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Very good. And the other item we have on our agenda is the Digital Kitchener Review Final Report. Thank you. Ms. Amaral will have a 5-minute presentation for us. Whenever you're ready. Welcome.
Thank you for having me today. So today we're here to ask Council to approve the direction of how the city approaches digital services and innovation over the next 5 years. This isn't about approving tools, vendors, or budgets. It's about setting a clear, shared framework so future digital decisions are aligned, responsible, and consistent with corporate priorities. Thank you. The last Digital Kitchener strategy was approved nearly a decade ago. Since then, digital has shifted from being an enhancement to being a core service delivery, risk management, and resident trust. Core two. This refresh ensures the city's digital direction reflects today's realities, especially around automation, data, and emerging technologies. Next slide. The strategy is grounded in what we heard from residents, staff, partners, and the local tech community, combined with research into government best practices. A consistent message was the need for simpler services, responsible use of technology, and a stronger focus on inclusion and accessibility, all which directly shaped the strategy. Next slide. We want to emphasize that this wasn't a single engagement exercise. The strategy reflected hundreds of touch points across customers, staff, leadership, external experts, and other governments. The breadth gives us confidence that this direction is both community-informed and operationally grounded. Next slide. A key change in this refresh is acknowledging that digital doesn't stand still. Rather than locking the city into a fixed plan, the strategy is designed to evolve, informed by ongoing consultation with experts and partners who help surface risks, test assumptions, and identify opportunities over time. Next slide. The vision reflects a shift away from technology-led thinking towards outcome-led thinking. It centers collaboration, accessibility, and innovation as ways to improve services and unlock value for the community, not as an ends in themselves. So the vision we're proposing is Digital Kitchener drives a culture of collaboration where community voices guide digital initiatives, services are efficient and accessible, and innovation unlocks opportunities across our city. Next slide. These goals replace the previous one-word pillars with plain language outcomes that are easier to connect to real experiences. For residents, it means focusing on simpler, more connected services, ensuring digital improvements don't leave people behind. Think of residents completing most services end-to-end online, from permit applications to tax inquiries, with real-time status updates and proactive notifications. Next slide. A connected and smart city looks like citywide data systems predict when roads, facilities, or equipment need maintenance before issues arrive, triggering timely work orders that reduce disruptions and improve safety. Next slide. This means we could be regularly co-designing solutions with local startups and city staff where challenge-based pilot programs accelerate ideas from concepts to implementation, continuing to evolve Pitch Kitchener as the front door for civic innovation and doing business with the city. Next slide. Imagine a time where community, center, and public spaces offers reliable Wi-Fi, and where residents can take a class to learn key digital literacy skills like how to use AI. Next slide. This looks like near real-time open data powers dynamic dashboards and maps that help residents, researchers, and local businesses turn insights into practical solutions and enhance daily life across the city. Next slide. Think of the Digital Kitchener Innovation Lab continuing to evolve into a citywide catalyst where staff and community partners rapidly co-design, test and scale new ideas, accelerating innovation and delivering better outcomes for residents. Next slide. I'll speak fast. Digital Kitchener 2.0 provides a shared strategic compass for how the city approaches digital services, innovation, and emerging technologies. AI and data are treated as core capabilities with an explicit focus on responsible use. Rather than prescribing specific solutions, it sets clear ways of working so the city can adapt responsibly as technology, community expectations and risks evolve while staying aligned with council direction.
Ms. Emmer, we actually have a lot of time in this committee, so take your time.
Okay, I'll slow down then. I told Mariah that my grandma tells me I speak like an auctioneer, so I was just gonna pull on that. This strategy assumes technology, especially AI, will keep evolving, so it's designed to be informed by ongoing consultation with external experts over time. This expertise helps staff and council understand emerging technologies and risks. Council continues to set direction, approve budgets, and provide oversight through existing reporting and approval processes. In practice, this lets the city stay current and responsible while keeping accountability with council. Each year, staff will identify a small number of objectives aligned with this strategy. Any initiatives with financial or policy implications will still come to council through existing budget and approval processes. This strategy does not bypass council oversight. Next slide. Sorry, I forgot that part again. One more. One more. If council approves the strategy today, the immediate next step is a coordinated public launch with communications focused on explaining what the strategy means for residents. After launch, staff will move into ongoing implementation and storytelling, sharing progress and lessons learned as a part of normal reporting. One of the first large projects that aligns with the goal of this strategy is the 2026 Pitch Kitchener program. Council will continue to be involved through existing update, budget, and approval processes. Next slide. Today's decision is about setting direction. If approved, staff will move forward with the launch and identify the first set of annual objectives. Future initiatives will continue to come back to council as required. This gives the organization clarity and flexibility while preserving council's role with oversight and accountability. Next slide. Does anybody have any questions about this strategy or discussion items?
Thank you for your presentation. There are quite a few questions. Beginning with Councillor Singh.
Do you want us to wait until the end of the presentation, or would you like it as we go along?
Conclusion of the presentation.
That was the conclusion? Oh, okay. Sure, it was small. I mean, this is a good direction. Something that this council and many of us have continued to focus on wanting to us to leverage on change of technology to improve city services. I personally, for myself, I like to see a lot of small implementation. And as we look at stuff, will we incorporate pilots where we allow, that disclaimer, hey, do you want to participate in this pilot? So that we can have a better collection of user data and kind of style data. And that way, whatever the final product is going to be, with whoever we're procuring from, we can partner with them in that pilot. If you're doing it from Digital Lab, we better improve our methods ourselves. Will we look at that methodology of doing pilots, or are we looking at end product and then launching?
Through the chair, is there a bit of an echo? I feel like I'm hearing you speak twice.
There is a bit, yeah. If you're more comfortable sometimes, I'm not sure if that spot's worse. We want to take a seat over there.
Oh, stand over.
The council have the same complaint to hear me speaking twice. So. I thought I'd take it myself. Before someone else said it, I thought I'd say it to myself. That's why.
Did you hear Councillor Singh's question, or do you want to repeat the part?
Piloting. Okay. Again, as you said, that we're going to be launching a lot of changes to how we do service delivery through kind of the digital evolution and AI usage as well. Will we look at smaller pilots with whichever company we're procuring has sourced software, where we pilot and then adapt it to our local market or local usage? Whatever we're doing in-house through digital labs, will we pilot those as well? So the end product is more fine-tuned rather than just launching and then assessing how public's opinion is.
Here, I'll key in. You don't have to worry about, you can just stay keeping, okay.
So, yes, I've actually been looking very recently as a part of the Pitch Kitchener program and doing some research around what makes successful cities engage with their local tech community. And one of the big things was pre-market engagement. And so I think there's great opportunity there for us to engage with local vendors to get a good understanding, for them to get a good understanding of what we're interested in, for us to get a good understanding of what's available to us. I've been looking at other opportunities that don't always involve a monetary exchange or a formal contract. And so I think that I have a whole list that I'll bring back at some point, but that was one of the key pieces of successful cities, was that pre-market engagement piece.
Okay, good.
Launching smaller pilots for sure. Part of what I was looking at as well is having ongoing challenges on our website instead of, sort of an annual pitch competition and then ending it there. Somehow we can engage all throughout the year. And as far as smaller pilots within the lab, definitely, I think that there's a lot that can be done that could give staff back time through smaller integrations and implementations.
Okay, that's good. So my only concern is sometimes local government sometimes provides a most micro level service delivery, but sometimes we operate like big government, and that's why I wanted to make sure that through this kind of digital evolution that we're looking at that evolving as the needs of our populace through whatever the software that we're looking at or change of usage. Last question. I may key back in it with another, but I'll let others speak. This is a good strategy. It looks like positive steps forward. Where do we? A lot of it seems to be staff driven, based on collecting how we want to change usage of service delivery. Where can we look to push the envelope? Because staff will not do that. I think you guys are risk averse. Sometimes you may not want to present an idea that's too out of the box. Where do we get to interject every once in a while and say, hey, we can do more, we can take a risk here, let's do something. Thank you.
As far as where can council interject to try to move things forward? I think that can definitely be done through our process. And so you will definitely be involved in, while we're choosing projects, as will CLT. There's lots of opportunities. And again, really building out the Pitch Kitchener piece, because I heard what you guys had to say the last time we were here and during our engagement session, and have really taken a lot of that into consideration when we're looking to evolve the Pitch Kitchener program. And so I think there will be great opportunities there for you to be physically around the table to have these discussions when we're looking at what kind of pitches should we put out. Some of those successful ones that we did during the pilot were autonomous. So, tell us what you can do instead of saying, here's what we're looking for. And so I think that's a great opportunity to learn what is out there and, have council around the table to have these discussions with local experts.
Thank you. Next with questions is Councillor Ioannidis.
Thank you, Chair. Am I on? Okay. Thank you, Chair Davey, and thanks, Nicole, for your presentation. I guess to touch upon similar to what Councillor Singh is, and it's surprising to me that we first approved this our digital strategy in 2017. Like, it really seems like it was yesterday. But anyways, I'm wondering if we as members of council, or does it have to come to finance committee, or that we get like a regular update on where things stand? Because I feel like we've been not getting the full accounting of what's happening in the department, especially with regards to the innovation lab. So.
Yes, so that actually became very evident through all of the engagement that we did, and not just the lab, but the city as a whole, and doing more storytelling with the community, because they are, sometimes I call them our investors. They're allowing us to do these cool things, and so we definitely, throughout the rollout of the strategy and the ongoing plan for communications, is doing more storytelling for everybody involved. So, sharing these stories with council, giving you content that you can share with your constituents, providing regular updates to council and the community.
Okay. I really like the phrase "our investors." Great concept. When the time's appropriate, Chair, prepared to move the recommendation.
Very good. Thank you. Next is Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the report. I just wanted to have a question about the vision as written out on page 7. And it says, ensure every resident can connect and thrive by providing reliable connectivity, digital skills training, and equitable access to technology. I just wondered if you could speak to that. Like, what do we actually mean? Are we going to ensure that every resident has these things?
Well, it can certainly be a goal. It is a goal. We have some projects underway. I can give you an example of an initiative that we have ongoing with the Working Center that we're actually going to, well, it was featured in the content part of it. And so we donate our gently used technology to the Working Center, and they work with their members to learn solutions or skills to fix technology, and then in turn resell it at a very affordable price to the community. And so looking for more ways like that, looking at how we can partner with our community partners. Another example of the digital literacy piece is some work that we are talking about doing with the University of Waterloo. And so that's also through their Future of Work program. One of their goals as well is to increase AI literacy within the community. And so continuing to look at options like that, it's a very lofty goal for sure. However, I think that we could really rely on our community partners and organizations to help us get there.
Okay, that sounds great. And I say this in the context of, we know that there are many people that don't have computers, don't have access to the internet, and certainly are, reluctant to do any financial transactions online. And I just wonder if you could speak to that a bit. Like, how does the Digital Kitchener strategy accommodate those needs or those people?
My grandmother that I spoke about earlier, she's one of those people. And so I think that what we could do is, by no means we're going to force anybody to do services online of any sort that they're not comfortable with. And so part of this strategy and other strategies we're working on internally, like the technology strategy, is making sure that we prepare our staff with the technology that they require to serve the people who are coming in person. And so while they want to come in person, because perhaps there's a trust issue, we can make sure that the experience that they have in person is top notch as well.
Right. As long as we're cognizant of that demographic. right? My final question has to do with the reference to the SDGs throughout the report. And maybe I'm a bit dismissive of SDGs at the local level. But I just wonder, like, I just think that the strategy itself stands alone very well without, referring to SDG 11, which ensures access to safety, affordable housing, upgrading slums, improving public transport, reducing environmental impact, for example, or SDG 16, which refers to peace and security, access to justice, accountable institutions. And it just seems a bit of a stretch to me. And I don't think we need it, right? I don't think we need to try and make it somehow a global transformative action. And like I said, I think the strategy on its own stands well and firm without the need to draw on the SDGs, and maybe you can speak to that as well.
So they will be more passive in the printed strategy. I've spelled them out for now because I don't think I don't have them memorized. So they will just be the logos like we have in our corporate strategic plan. And it's really to link back what the city is doing to support the SDGs. That's why they're in there. It's, if you guys all would rather have them out, the mayor asked me to put them in or to make sure that we link to them. I can't say that he wants them in there specifically, but we did definitely do a lot of work around the SDGs and the UN and the future the pact for future generations, those sorts of pieces of it.
No, and I'm not suggesting you take it out. I just don't think they add anything to it.
I appreciate it.
So thank you.
Thank you. Next is Councillor Johnston.
Yes, thanks, Chair Levy. And to kind of piggyback on Councillor Chapman's question about how we're helping people in the community to be able to use the resources. One of the things when I visit our community centers that I see that gets the most use are our community computers that are there. And that's amazing. That really is providing people with the opportunity to have access to the internet. I see people, doing resumes, printing them off, doing all kinds of things there, which is really great. Just wondering about the training in that we're providing. Not that we should expect our community center staff to do this because they have a lot of other work to do. And I know that people can access these services at the library, but when they're there, I'm sure they get a lot of questions. Is this an area of focus for us in terms of training the trainers, I guess?
Just to clarify, is your question around training our staff to support residents using the technology or the hardware?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clear there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those systems have been in those community centers for a long time. They are extremely heavily used, as you suggest, and the staff do a phenomenal job of assisting folks in there. What we've looked at in the past, and certainly areas that we can continue to.
I think you need to go to your other mic.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, yes, switch microphones.
What we've been looking to do is add in like self-learning type software on the PCs themselves. It's only so much the staff can do.
I know.
It is phenomenal to see how much they do support the people on those. Like I've seen them assisting with, like the job resume formation, all sorts of things, and just navigating the internet because they have the knowledge on how to do those things. But I think to ask them to go too far with that is a bit of a challenge. I think the real benefit or the real opportunity for us is to leverage a lot of the other partners in the first round of Digital Kitchener. We partnered with Hive Waterloo Region, which was a group that was trying to build out digital literacy. They were working with KPL. We worked with KPL. Like I think we really just try and find things where we can deliver service together is really helpful. They have added in Chromebook loaners at the KPL libraries, and then we put in additional free Wi-Fi outside in some of the common areas around the libraries where we have a community center. So we work with them to try and provide additional levels of service, and I think in that case, none of us can do it all together, but we can certainly try and come up with solutions that work for everybody.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I just think in particular, because our community centers are located in the communities where people are, and some of them serve some populations that may not, you know, go to the library, for example, to access those things, but could probably really use some help in, you know, even if we rent some classes or something right at the community centers about here's how you access your Kitchener utility bill, and you know, and show people how they can pay them and things, especially now that they're not getting mailed to them.
And we have actually done some of that.
Oh, good.
Like
Sorry
there's
if I
been a
didn't-
request
I didn't realize
specifically in cybersecurity to help people understand what they should be looking for. It's just the challenge of how much can we offer that without over extending our resources. But it's certainly where there's been a identified interest in a group of people, we have actually had where our staff have ran classes for them.
Yeah, well, even maybe if we even do it with RAC or something, I've had calls from seniors saying, I'm not sure. I used to always get my paper bill. I don't even know how to download my bill. So maybe it's something we can look in conjunction with the people not getting them mailed to them anymore. Anyhow, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Dooney.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can you hear me?
We can, yes, go ahead.
Perfect. So my question is in line with where Councillor Johnston just ended. I mean, I really love the direction we're going with this, and I think it's phenomenal. I'm just wondering, how do we ensure that people are educated in the security aspect of things as we're looking to advance in terms of our technological services, innovation, and all of that? How do we ensure that they are also educated? I got a very convincing email this earlier today that I actually thought was from Mayor Barry. I thought it was quite interesting. I was close to clicking until I checked the email address, and I laughed when I noticed that it wasn't from him. But that is through some of the, the courses and the programs that we've gone through at the office. So I'm just wondering, what can we do as we advance in terms of our digital services, that we're educating people exactly on what to look out for, so they're not, quote unquote, taking over. They're not logging in some phishing website and, quote unquote, paying bills, whereas their information is being taken. And does that make us liable in any way whatsoever if someone is, quote unquote, trying to emulate the website, our website, and getting people's information?
Yeah, this will be an ongoing challenge as we cybersecurity doesn't. It's not something you could just train somebody once and one and done. Unfortunately, it is an evolving thing. We have actually made available our the same training that we have available for staff. We actually have a different license available on our public access computers, so we've offered that up. I think we also, as threats emerge on a regular basis, be it through, building department or, quite often there's folks trying to emulate city services, and we do end up needing to educate the public on, what they should be looking for and what they can expect from the city if we are sending them things. And we also want to make sure we're not engaging in sending out emails with lots of links and things and expecting them to click on it. We need to train them through our own actions as well on a daily basis. I think this is going to be a continuing challenge at adapting to new cybersecurity threats and helping the public understand. I think everyone's got to take their own responsibility for it, but certainly wherever we can assist them and try and raise that bar, I think we can.
Thank you. Just something for us to think about. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Councillor Stretch.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor O'Dooney touched on the question that I had, so I just have a comment.
Yeah, okay. I can actually just ask you to hang on just for a bit. Yeah, I'll come back. So just in questions, just a couple quick questions that I have too, and again, it comes from one raised by, I guess, Councillor Singh and Councillor Ennis as well. So will there be like a formal council report check-in, and what would the frequency of that be? If not, like, what would you propose the frequency of that would be? Oh, sorry, you got to click in there. All right. Okay, go ahead. Oh, no, you disappeared. Hang on. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, there will be regular council check-ins. We're still looking at what the rollout and implementation looks like in detail, but definitely in-person check-ins at least annually. I do think there's opportunity for additional check-ins, whether it be through email or other form invitations for engagement to participate. When we're ideating or looking for something new or a new pilot, but definitely annually at least in person.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So maybe put some thought towards that between now and the council meeting, because as you're aware, for the benefit of the rest of the committee, Councillor Singh and I met with Ms. Amaral and Mr. Bloom as well, and Mr. Murray, on the idea of formulating an actual innovation, artificial intelligence, et cetera, committee. And I'm prepared to park that notion for now, pending some regular check-ins. So I like to firm that up in terms of time with the council. I appreciate that. The other question I had is if you can help me prioritize. There's a lot of things in this strategy, and they're all very, very good things. But I'm worried about the resourcing that we have. And I guess the number one thing that I'm hoping that we're looking at as part of the strategy is, again, looking at how we do. I don't want to be looking at too many new things, like new ideas, new services, that sort of thing. I'm much more interested in looking at the services we already provide and how we can do them more efficiently, reducing our workload per worker, increasing productivity. Is that, I guess I'm questioning, is that one of the core intentions of this strategy, or do we need to be more specific on that?
To clarify, are you meaning online services?
No, I mean, like, everything we do at the City of Kitchener, like from our finance department to our planning department, like, how are we doing everything, looking at how we do everything now, look at the technologies that are existing and emerging, and how can we apply those very new, very fast-moving technologies to what we do, basically to run our city more efficiently and less expensively.
So as I mentioned, around looking at Pitch Kitchener, and our most responded to challenge that we put out was the autonomous challenge. And it was more asking the community how what's out there, how can we operate better, what should we be looking at. And so I think that could be a combination. I know I seem to be putting a lot on Pitch Kitchener, but I do think it's a great opportunity to evolve the program, to have those more frequent engagements with people who know what's upcoming, people who are using our services. And we could pair that with corporate customer service surveys our residents after every service we do. And so that is, for example, a set of data that we took a look at as a part of the Digital Kitchener strategy. And we will continue to work with our internal partners to look to see what perhaps the most complaints are, to help us prioritize and make those services better.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm a huge fan of Pitch Kitchener, but my thing with Pitch Kitchener is it relies on our staff to identify a problem and present it for the community to solve, right? I'm also looking at external forces that look at the way that we do things and identify where some gaps might be or where technology might step in. I'm just noticing Mr. Chapman's clicking in. Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. There are two opportunities that I see in front of us that I would highlight. The first is, as you know, we have a partnership with Communitech. We fund the organization, and we're in the process of discussing a potential renewal agreement with Communitech. You may recall the strategic session we had a number of weeks ago where they brought their expert in residence in, and we had a great comment to stay current on upgrades to deploy all of those investments that are happening where AI is enabling work streams and changing workflows. And so we are behind on a number of upgrades and are committing resources to move those forward, but I would suggest that to look to see what's available already through our vendors in current editions of enterprise-grade applications and then to deploy that. And so part of our work can be to prioritize where's the greatest opportunity, where are the greatest innovations, and then commit resources to getting that work done.
That's helpful. Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Those are all my questions for round two, Councillor Singh.
Yeah, thank you. And Nicole, I'm glad that you referenced the program that the city does with refurbishing old laptops, tablets, and working with the working center and repurposing these devices that we're going to waste, thrown out literally to the garbage dump, for use of families in need that don't have the means of having access to digital tools. So I was actually looking at this report. I'm going to give a little bit of a preface. When I brought that idea forward, staff looked at a lot of challenges with it, but we were able to look through those challenges, and I think this is a really good program, and we have a tremendous win in the community because of it. Now I'm looking at something additional because part of the report outlines, that the ubiquitous usage of technology as well as making sure it's equitable for everyone. Expanding public Wi-Fi was the first step. At the very least, everyone having internet access. The next step is actually having the tools, right? So it's great that people can buy it potentially that can't buy it themselves through the working center. I'm looking at a motion or amendment to the report in addressing as part of the Refresh Digital Kitchener, having these devices that we're repurposing anyways, but also having a number of these devices in our various different community centers. One is it's great that we can give classes to people, but if they don't have a device, what are they going to do with? And I've seen firsthand case where people are hurtling around one person, two device terminals, and they're waiting in turn line up. If we have the laptops and the tablets, they can use it in the community center or sign it out. The library does it already. What I was looking at is amending, ensuring that we have something that runs in parallel. They take it, they return it, great. If they don't return it back, it's okay too. But at the very least, everyone has a device. I wanted to take your feedback first, then I'll share to the committee what the amendment to the motion was as well. Thank you.
So we could certainly look at options. I think the challenge that we would run into is quite often our equipment is getting quite old, and we'd be putting that burden of support again back on the community centers. The benefit of the program is the way we have it right now with the working center is that they're taking those parts and putting them together, replacing batteries and really improving the equipment before it goes out to people. I know the libraries generally will only buy Chromebooks, but they'll buy them brand new so that they're reliable. I think we can, investigate this. It's just we've got to be careful of what sort of load we might be putting on the folks in the community centers.
Thank you. Just want to remind, and no fault to you, sometimes there's more challenges before you have successes. This is very much a similar things that we kind of feared about in the program that we adopted. And there's sometimes you have to find solutions, and times there are costs related to it too. Mr. Chair, would it be okay if the clerk later, or maybe perhaps before we go to comments, they can show the amendment that I was proposing? And it typically doesn't directly go do it. It's similar to what the old motion was: go to explore it, report back in Q3 of how we can adopt this. And just to answer to you, I'm not saying that we're only going to be repurposing the program we have right now. So the community centers, we have that in tandem, but we just have a number of extra devices that are available instead of just reliance on the terminals that are in the community center. Perhaps the committee can take a look at the amendment, and then as reporting back, you can advise on the challenges and perhaps what things that we can do as part of the amendment. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly. If you could, staff can bring up all of it's on our screens now. Yeah, 1 second. Just let me quickly finish reading this here. Okay, and sorry, Councillor Singh, have you talked to staff about this before?
Again, that's why it's just more of reporting back in Q3 and seeing if there's feasibility to this and what costs could be related to it. It's very similar to a program we're doing already. We're just looking at these devices that are repurposed already through sale, through the working center, using some of these devices in our community centers for use as well as for sign out as well. There's terminology here that I think is not necessary. I just put it there extra because in case staff may have concern regarding security device for relocating or whatever, I'm not really concerned about that. I just put that advantage in case staff had that concern. They can use as little or as much of the direction of it. Just simply what could this program look like in Q3?
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Verbenovich, on this.
Yeah, sorry. Well, just on this, and thank you to Councillor Singh for bringing this forward. I think it's certainly an idea that that has some merit. I think it needs to be dealt with separately from the strategy, though. The strategy's been something that's been worked on by months by staff and is a broad policy document. This is a very specific initiative and should be looked at, you know, as a separate motion. So that would be my request of you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, perhaps, Councillor Singh, I'd suggest, yeah, perhaps best brought back for the council meeting. That will also give staff some time to fill you in any, you know, potential challenges.
I'm okay.
Councillor, okay, so
I thought this is the keeping of it as part of refresh the digital insurance. But I mean, I'd love to take the extra credit, a separate motion, so that's fine.
there you go. Okay, I do not see any further questions, so we are now into comments. You wanted to queue in. I believe Councillor Stretch indicated she had a comment first. Go ahead, Councillor Stretch.
Yes, thank you. My comments really were just around the access to tools piece, and Councillor Singh really, you know, addressed that and spoke to it. So there are, as you mentioned, different community groups already really focusing on this access to tools. So we'd love to keep learning from those experts around what they know about lending, but also wanted to speak from experience that there's also a lot of phone, a need for phone, whether it's, you know, to borrow, to get them people through for a couple of months. Often youth are carrying a load of that digital literacy thing, and it is often their own networks and relationships that, you know, people lean into when they need help figuring something out on the phone or on the laptop or on the computer, on the tablet, all of them, many different devices. But I think having a range of tools to be able to offer would be great. And I'm curious around what our other partners are offering and how we could support that work already. Thanks.
Thank you. Up next is Councillor Ioannidis.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Davey. I've seen some noticeable improvements in the program in the last little while, so I don't think it's no coincidence that we're seeing some good things coming through. So just wanted to throw that out there. I really value this program, this strategy. When we first brought it out in 2017, I had really a lot more high hopes than where we were. But again, that's in the past. But I'm looking forward to the future and seeing where we move with this. So and I really like I said, I was really like the direction where we were going, and you know, considering with the AI that we've been using and everything else, and partnering with local companies, and I really appreciate the perspective when you said investors. So so I really like where this strategy is going, and you know, anything that's designed to create more efficiencies and, you know, give greater access, and you know, designing solutions that are for residents who we always call customers, and other community partners. And so I really believe this is the heart and soul of where we're going to be moving forward in the next few years, especially with the way how technology is changing. So I really look forward to this, and I do see really great things coming out of this. So I appreciate everything you've done. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Singh.
Yeah, same. Ms. Emerald, I think since we launched out Digital Kitchener and then Kitchener Digital Innovation Lab, we've seen you more than we've seen anyone else, apart from obviously, you know, from the director of IT. I mean, we are getting a lot more communication. I think that has been one of the hurdles a little bit. We knew that work is moving forward. There's some positives that's coming from the Innovation Lab, but we weren't getting a lot of communication. And if members of council feel that way, guess what? The public is disfranchised even more. I think going forward, having that greater buy-in, because we're expecting people to change in a way that they're not used to. So knowing full well the direction of that change in advance helps people be prepared, and it diminishes their aggravation sometimes when early on they're feeling of having to have that new literacy of doing things differently. So as we communicate that out and have more information readily available through community centers, through public input meetings. But again, I'm going to refer back to what Councillor Davey referenced on our meeting, his and I's meeting with both of you a couple weeks back, in encouraging either a committee or a working group that is there to give guidance to staff and council on advice of where we're missing, where the gaps still exist, where we can leverage more, where we can go for the moonshot projects that perhaps our staff may not be willing to do, but they can bring that idea forward and they can get circulated and discussed around this horseshoe. And that's what I said. Where will we be taking risks? We are not industry experts. We don't know it. We expect our staff to be cautious in new technology. You sometimes need the outside voices and say, hey, there's opportunities here, some risk, some cost, but perhaps take a look at it. I would love to be a big framework of the refresh of Digital Kitchener, but slowly doing things, we don't have that advantage. The world does not move slowly in the digital medium. It moves fast, and people need to adapt fast, and so do we in the government as well. Councillor Stretch already addressed my concern. It's great to have a strategy. It's great to shift over to a digital format, but there are many in our community that I don't have the literacy, which goes to Councillor Johnston, that we need to provide that in our community centers or whichever format. At the very least, we have to have the devices. If people can't have the access to devices, guess what? Then we're removing people from use and access to public service, and that's something we all will not stand for. So any strategy that we do needs to ensure that it's equitable and allows to carry people that may not have access. So I'd love to have that conversation and part of that next for the council meeting coming. Even though it would be a separate motion, I would love it to come together, because then it takes away any negative connotation for people that have that fear. Hey, we're digitizing, but I don't know how to use it. Or I don't have the device, because we're taking those people into mind and consideration and moving them forward along with us. But I think this is a great step forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Rabinowicz.
Well, thank you very much, Chair Davey, and sorry to staff that I missed the presentation, but I had another meeting that I had to attend to. But I do want to take this opportunity to thank you for all of the work that's been done. You know, I dug out actually my old Digital Kitchener strategy that we approved a number of years ago, and I did that because it came up in a conversation recently, and it was a conversation where actually our federal government in 2019 used the city of Kitchener as an example in terms of the strategy and in terms of the work that the strategy spoke to and the work that we were doing in terms of dealing with digital equity, and which is one of the issues that's being talked about today. And in fact, as part of Canada's voluntary national review of the SDGs in 2019, which was Canada's first reporting back at the United Nations, the city of Kitchener was actually part of that story and the work that we were doing, and we were being highlighted from a global perspective on that. When I look at the Digital Kitchener 2.0 report that's in front of us, and the broad goals that have been set in the 6 areas, I think they recognize both where our successes have been. They recognize some of the changes that are happening in the world around us, particularly around the use of data, the realities of AI, and so on. But also making sure that we're not resting on our laurels, but in fact are continuing to look to innovate, to collaborate, and to partner in terms of a culture of innovation, both in our organization, but also the role that the City of Kitchener plays in our relationships and our partnerships with partners in the community, like Communitech, like University of Waterloo, like the college and the Conestoga College, and others who are working in these spaces. So I'm very excited about this. I think it has been a labor of love for the staff who have been leading this, and look forward to seeing what the future holds in the space in the months and years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, thank you. And likewise, thank you for the report and for the work you do. It's great to see. I think the city does a great job at digitalizing services and at looking at new advancements and opportunities. So thank you for that. And I really do look forward to seeing how we can ensure every resident can connect and thrive by providing reliable connectivity, digital skills training, and equitable access to technology. I think that's a great vision, and I know it's very ambitious, but if that's where we're headed, I look forward to seeing how we advance. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be supporting this as well. There's certainly some good work here. I remember back in the day when we first were requesting the broadening of free Wi-Fi throughout the city, and how that was a challenge at the time, and how Kitchener actually led in that space and continue to this day as an early indicator. I'm very happy with the work that's done here. I would still encourage focus because we don't have a ton of resources ourselves, and I would encourage that focus based on the discussion that we had here today. Obviously, my personal preference is in leveraging tools to increase productivity, as was mentioned. But I'm also very much in support, and always have been, of closing that digital divide as part of this as well. I do think it's very, very important that everyone does have access to the devices that they need. I'm actually personally less worried about the digital literacy piece, because the rate that technology is advancing, especially with artificial intelligence, which if it understands one thing better than anything else, it's language. So it's going to be less having to understand how things like programming and spreadsheets work, and more frankly just being able to give clear and precise logical directions to the device that you're working with. So anyway, I'm very, very happy with where we are, and I'm very happy to see. Very looking forward to seeing regular updates in this space, because I do think there's massive opportunities here to improve everything that we do. That in mind is moved by Councillor Ioannidis. Those in favor? And that carries unanimously. Good work. Mr. Mayor, that concludes Finance and Corporate Services Committee. Did you want to go right into Special Counsel? 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Thanks, everyone.